I, 28, female, have been married to my husband, 38, male, for 6 years. We have 5 boys aged 3 to 14. Our 3 oldest are from his first marriage, and each of us own our own business. Our lives are busy, needless to say. Recently, my husband has expressed he does not feel loved or desired by me as I do not initiate sex. Although we have sex 3 to 5 times a week, he says he is the one who initiates, so therefore he does not feel I desire him in any way. Once he expressed this to me, I told him I would do what I could to figure out why my libido was lacking. I ordered several supplements to begin taking and even made an appointment with my doctor to discuss a treatment. She sent me a medicine to the pharmacy, but my insurance would not cover it, and an 8-dosage fill monthly was going to cost $2,200. So I was really hoping the supplements would do the trick. We had this initial discussion on a Tuesday, and then come Friday we left with our children for a family vacation. Thankfully, my supplements had arrived Friday, so I began taking them and packed them for our trip. Friday evening, we stopped for the night at a nice resort, and once the kids were all settled, I initiated intimacy within our private suite. I thought all was well until we woke the next morning to get back on the road, and my husband was obviously frustrated and had short patience with me and the children. The remainder of our drive, I held his hand/arm and kissed him occasionally until we arrived at our extended family's home. Our accommodations, there was a fifth-wheel RV with only electricity hookup, no water, shower, toilet, etc. This was not new to us, so we weren't bothered by it. We spent the remainder of the day, Saturday and Sunday, with our family. Monday we had an outing in the snow, and once we got back to the house, we all took turns showering. That evening, after everyone fell asleep, my husband was restless. He tossed and turned, sighed, and took deep breaths over and over. When I asked him what was bothering him, he said I wasn't doing what I promised. I wasn't initiating intimacy or showing him in any way that I loved and desired him. I gently reminded him where we had been the last few days and also pointed out the RV didn't allow for privacy from our children. Never mind our youngest sharing our bed with us. I also reminded him I had only been taking my supplements now for 3 days. We argued to the point of tears, and I took myself to our vehicle outside the RV for a break. He joined me within 10 minutes and told me he was just anxious about the other leg of our trip, which was visiting his extended family he hadn't seen in 20 years. He apologized for the way he handled himself and said he understood why intimacy had been lacking in recent days. The next day, we spent more time with our family. That night, I gave him oral and we went to sleep. We then left the following morning, Wednesday, for our visit with his extended family. After arriving mid-afternoon at his family's house, he left to go see his brother and fix something on our car while me and the kids stayed at the house. That evening, once everyone was asleep, we have phenomenal sex. The best in a while. All was good. The next day, we spent the day with our family. Same thing Friday, and then Saturday we had a big family event to attend. Saturday morning, we woke up earlier than everyone else and showered together, where we were able to have quick sex. After everyone woke up, we went shopping and then arrived back at the house to begin getting ready for the event. I think he expected some intimacy during the downtime, but there wasn't enough time or privacy for that. Our family of 7 plus our extended family of 3 were all in the same house and sharing 2 bathrooms. We didn't have ample time for anything other than to get ready for the event. The event went smoothly, and once we got back to the house, we began packing to leave that night and make the 14-hour drive back to our home. We took shifts driving. He drove the first hour, I drove 4, he drove 4, and then I drove the remainder of the trip. We got home around noon, Sunday, got the kids settled, took a shower, and then crashed in our own bed for the first time in over a week. I was exhausted. I woke up at around 5:30 that evening to check on the kids and then get us dinner from town. After dinner, we all settled in for the night and didn't wake up until the next morning at 10. When we woke up, my husband hinted at wanting sex, but I had just started my period before we went to bed for the night, and so I told him that. He stopped his hints and got up for the day. As the day went on, I could tell he was frustrated, and when I asked him what was bothering him, he told me I rejected him and that he didn't feel desired by me and it was taking a toll on him. At this point, I was so beyond frustrated and just couldn't believe what he was saying. He told me he wished we had had sex in the shower after we got home from our long drive. To which I responded with how exhausted I was once we got home, but that didn't mean much to him. It's Tuesday now, we haven't spoken much to each other, much less had any kind of intimacy. I just don't understand how he could logically expect anything more from me given the circumstances of our trip. I'm at a loss of what else to do. And the supplements I ordered have made a difference, I can already tell, but it just feels like I'm fighting a losing battle. Am I the asshole? Comment 1. NTA, he obviously has some insecurities and is affecting how he treats you. Also, it sounds like you're doing all you can. Seems like you can't do enough though, he always wants more. 5 boys is a lot, especially with a toddler flush face. I say keep trying. But he needs to be patient. OP. That's how I feel. Like I'm doing all I can, but it's still not enough and I know resentment is building. This isn't new though. This has always been a struggle in our marriage, but since becoming business owners, i.e. more stress, it has amplified. Comment 2. So a 32-year-old married you at 22. He went searching for a young person barely out of her teens to look after his children and see to his sexual needs. How concerned is he about your needs? You are looking after his children while working inside and outside of the home? How balanced is this relationship? Who does more work cleaning, cooking, and carrying the mental load? Has he expressed any gratitude for all you have taken on and accomplished at such a young age? I am afraid you married an egocentric AH. There is a reason they go fishing in the younger age ponds for a mate. It's because they want the upper hand in control. Stand up for yourself. Your needs. Learn to say no. Tell him what you need from him. You are a partner, not an employee. OP. We met at work. He had never dated anyone as young as me before that. He wasn't searching me out, and I guess I should have stated that. We share cooking and cleaning. I carry majority of the household mental load, although he carries majority of our financial mental load, so I feel like that balances out. We're both very active with our kids and their extracurricular activities. He coaches a lot of their teams. He's not necessarily a romantic, but he makes grand gestures when he can. During our trip, he bought me new jewelry on 2 different occasions as a surprise. I have a hard time with boundaries. I know that about myself, but he's not disrespectful to me or my boundaries when I set them. I think we're just not on the same wavelength at this phase of life. Comment 3. Have you considered couples therapy? Seems he needs a reality check. I'm sorry you're going through this. OP. We participated in couples therapy for almost a whole year. Our marriage was on the brink of ending. It helped a lot, especially with our communication, but it seems we need a touch-up. Update. We had a chat. I asked him to speak first. I thought he would apologize for everything, but this was not the case. He said we've not done a good job communicating with each other. He doesn't feel I desire him or care for him because I don't plan dates for us. True. If we go on a date, he has to plan it. He also said I don't do little things for him like ask him about his day or his work in detail. I do ask him how his day was on a regular basis, but I don't often ask for detail. He mentioned a recent week where I forgot to pick up his dry cleaning. He wears starch jeans every day, and how that made him feel forgotten. I didn't purposely forget. I would remember at random moments in the day and then forget once I was driving to work/home. He also mentioned how he does his share of the cooking and cleaning. All this boiled down to when he feels I'm not meeting the little things that are listed above and he's sharing the household stuff with me, that sex is his only channel to receive love and affection. But if I do remember the little things and carry the household load, then sex isn't as heavy with everything else balancing it out. My response. I told him he could have sex as often as we are, or he could have sex that I initiate each time, but it couldn't be both. I also told him that using sex as an outlet to release stress and anxiety isn't how marital intimacy should be. We should both be enjoying it. He agreed to that and admitted it wasn't fair how sex has been for us to this point. I told him I didn't want to have sex any longer that we didn't both desire. From now on, we both need to be on board with it. When he named everything I do or don't do that fulfills his love bank, I asked him what are the things he does for me. To which he replied, "You're easy to love," and then referenced jewelry he's bought me. I told him how wonderful it must be to have a wife you can just buy. After that, I asked him a series of questions like, when's the last time you swept and mopped our floors? When's the last time you washed your own clothes? When's the last time you checked the kids' homework? He didn't have an answer for any of them. I told him those are the things I do for him and our family, and all he does is discount those things. They don't count on my list the same they do his. So then I asked him if the things I listed above are just my duties or do they count as love and care for him. And before he could answer, I pointed out that he lists household or family duties as things he does to show me love and care, so if they count for his list, why do they not count for mine? He had no response. Now to address some questions from my original post. 3 to 5 times a week, but I'm not into it each time, so the lack of quality is what's killing it for him. He says he hasn't cheated and has no desire to. He says he'll start going to the gym and make self-care a priority. He mentioned his friends have sex just as much as we do. One of those friends has already cheated on his wife, and the other treats his wife like she's lucky to have him. I told him I wouldn't dare be paid to be married to either of them, and he needed new friends. He doesn't know I made this post and would likely be hurt that I did so that you'll get his reaction. I don't think he watches porn or is addicted. We once went over 30 days as recommended by our therapist without intimacy and slept in separate rooms. Our therapist isn't available until the beginning of April, so we're trying to figure this out amongst ourselves until then. His job is very stressful, high stakes, and he's the breadwinner. We could not survive on my income alone. I understand this is a heavy burden for him, and I think that is why I give in to his wants so often. Relevant comments. OP on quitting her business and let her husband be the breadwinner. OP. I was incredibly depressed when I stayed at home. Working and owning my own business makes me feel empowered and gives me a purpose outside of wife and mom. I won't be giving that up anytime soon.